The tension was palpable, the air thick with anticipation, and fans everywhere could hardly believe what was unfolding. Jasmine and Rasheeda, two women who have been at the center of reality TV whispers, secrets, and speculations, were now facing off in a confrontation that no one saw coming. Rumors had been swirling for weeks, whispers of jealousy, bitterness, and long-hidden grudges. But nothing could have prepared anyone for the storm that erupted when Kirk's name became the focal point of their latest clash. No beauty, no youth, stay away from Kirk. One source allegedly overheard Rasheeda muttering, and suddenly, the social media world exploded. Clips, screenshots, and messages flew like wildfire, fans dissecting every word, every glance, every subtle smirk, trying to piece together the drama that seemed larger than life itself. Emotions ran high, and the family was left divided, caught in the middle of accusations that seemed too scandalous to be real. Close friends were reportedly begging for calm, but both Jasmine and Rasheeda were too fiery, too determined, and too unwilling to back down. Allegiances shifted in the blink of an eye, secrets once buried in silence threatened to spill into the public eye, and fans were left on the edge of their seats, watching a saga that felt like it could tear apart everything and everyone involved. The question everyone is asking now is simple: who will emerge victorious in this battle of pride, envy, and raw emotion? And what will happen to Kirk in the crossfire of these explosive accusations? The stage is set, the players are ready, and one thing is certain: nothing and no one will ever be the same again. The room was tense, the atmosphere practically crackling as Jasmine stepped into Kirk's sprawling living room, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor, every step announcing her arrival like a declaration of war. Rasheeda was already there, arms crossed, eyes narrowing as soon as she saw her rival enter. Her lips pressed into a thin line that spoke volumes about the storm brewing in her mind. "I knew you'd show up," Rasheeda spat, her voice low, but trembling with barely contained anger. Jasmine's lips curled into a smile that was more venom than warmth. "And I knew you couldn't resist staring at me the whole night," she replied, tilting her head with that signature smirk that had fans divided between awe and irritation. The air seemed to hum with unspoken words, and Kirk, standing awkwardly near the doorway, shifted from foot to foot, his eyes darting nervously between the two women whose history was riddled with tension, envy, and betrayal. Friends and family, who had gathered for what was supposed to be a casual evening, now found themselves in the eye of a dramatic hurricane, unsure whether to intervene or step back and watch the fireworks unfold. Emotions ran high as the first accusations flew like arrows. "You think just because you're younger, and let's be honest, better looking, you can walk into my life and take everything I've worked for?" Rasheeda's voice cracked slightly, betraying the mix of fury and hurt she was trying to hide. Jasmine's eyes flashed with defiance. "Better looking, please, Rasheeda. This isn't about looks, it's about attitude, control, and who Kirk actually respects him. Let's be real, that's me." The words hit like a slap, and the room seemed to hold its breath, each person waiting to see who would break first. Kirk's mother, who had been quietly observing from the couch, leaned forward, her hands clasped tightly together. "Girls, please, can we just talk like adults?" she pleaded, but it was too late. The storm had been unleashed. The drama escalated when one of Kirk's cousins, trying to mediate, suggested, "Maybe we should all sit down," but he was immediately cut off. "No, there's nothing to sit down for," Rasheeda snapped, her voice echoing against the walls. "She thinks she can just waltz in and steal him, steal his attention, steal everything." Jasmine rolled her eyes dramatically. "Steal? I'm not stealing anything, I'm earning it. Something you clearly forgot how to do a long time ago." The room erupted into murmurs, whispers spreading like wildfire as fans watching live updates on social media could hardly keep up with the intensity. Every gesture, every glance, every subtle smirk or frown was being dissected, analyzed, and debated by thousands. It wasn't just a fight over affection anymore, it had become a battle of pride, ego, and survival. As tensions continued to spike, Kirk finally attempted to intervene, stepping forward with a hand raised. "Ladies, please. We don't have to," but before he could finish, Rasheeda turned toward him, eyes blazing. "Don't you dare. I'm done being polite, Kirk. She's manipulative, she's fake, and she's nothing compared to what I've given you." Jasmine laughed, a sharp, cutting sound that made several family members flinch. "Oh, give me a break. You gave him what exactly?" "Complaints, criticism, threats every time he dared to breathe differently." The words were venomous, but the truth stung more than anyone wanted to admit. Kirk's younger sister, who had been quietly recording the exchange for her vlog, whispered to her friend, "This is insane. I can't believe this is happening in front of everyone." And indeed, the chaos seemed unstoppable. As the night wore on, accusations grew louder and more outrageous. "You've been lying about your past," Rasheeda, Jasmine hissed, leaning in so close that her perfume seemed to intoxicate the air. "And you think I haven't heard the rumors about you trying to sabotage every relationship he's ever had?" "The fans are shocked, Rasheeda. Even they can see through your act." Rasheeda, cheeks flushed with anger and embarrassment. "Rumors. These are facts. Jasmine, don't twist the story to make yourself look good. People know who you really are, vain, selfish, and desperate for attention." The room seemed to shrink under the weight of their words. Everyone trapped in a war of insults and emotions so thick it was suffocating. Friends who had tried to step in were quickly silenced as the drama spiraled further out of control. One cousin muttered, "I can't take this anymore. Why does it always have to be like this?" But no one was listening. The tension had become a spectacle, a show that everyone around Kirk could not tear their eyes away from. Emotions ran high, with tears mingling with rage, voices rising and falling like a hurricane that refused to die down. At one point, Rasheeda's hand flew across the room, knocking over a vase, the crash echoing like a gunshot, a symbol of the breaking points being tested in real time. Jasmine, unshaken, leaned back against the wall, smirking as if daring Rasheeda to try again. "You're predictable," she said softly, but the words were loaded with contempt. Kirk, finally desperate, ran a hand through his hair, muttering, "Why does it always have to be like this?" But no one had answers, and the night stretched on, each moment more explosive than the last. Fans online were live commenting every word, every tear, every insult, with hashtags trending and threads exploding. Jasmine versus Rasheeda, Kirk's chaos, family torn apart. The drama had gone viral before it had even ended. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, a shocking revelation was whispered into Rasheeda's ear by one of the cousins. Something about Kirk that no one had anticipated, sending her into a spiral of disbelief and fury, her accusations reaching a fever pitch. "You knew about this," she shouted, eyes wide, pointing directly at Jasmine, "and you didn't tell me. How could you be so heartless?" Jasmine's smirk widened. "I didn't have to. It's not my problem. You can't handle the truth." The room went silent for a moment, the weight of that statement hitting everyone hard. Kirk sank into a chair, burying his face in his hands as his family exchanged looks of shock and concern. The night had turned into a battlefield, the walls echoing with the aftermath of words that could never be unsaid, and emotions that would linger long after the guests had left. The intensity reached fever pitch as Rasheeda stormed toward the door, only to stop and turn, her eyes narrowing at Jasmine. "This isn't over. You think this is the end?" "Oh no, I'm just getting started." Jasmine's laughter followed her out the door, a haunting sound that left the remaining family members unsettled and worried about what the next confrontation might bring. As the first part of the evening's drama drew to a close, whispers of further secrets, betrayals, and alliances yet to be revealed kept everyone on edge, fans glued to every update, desperate to see what would happen next in this explosive saga that had already shattered hearts, ruined friendships, and left no one unscathed. The tension was far from over, and one thing was certain: this war between Jasmine and Rasheeda, fueled by jealousy, pride, and love, had only just begun, and Kirk, caught in the eye of the storm, was left wondering if anyone would emerge from the chaos unscathed. As Rasheeda's footsteps faded down the hall, the tension in the room didn't ease, it thickened, settling over everyone like a heavy, suffocating fog. Jasmine remained in the center, arms crossed, a triumphant glint in her eyes, as if daring anyone to challenge her dominance. Kirk slowly lifted his head, his face pale and strained, and muttered, "Why does it always have to turn into a battlefield?" His sister, still holding her phone from live-streaming parts of the earlier chaos, shook her head, whispering, "This isn't just reality TV anymore. This is real life, and no one is safe from the fallout." Friends exchanged worried glances, some rushing to console Kirk, others unsure whether to intervene or watch the drama unfold. Just as it seemed the night might settle, a new player entered, the scene: Kirk's cousin, a notorious gossip with a flair for dramatics, who had been quietly observing from the corner, now cleared his throat. "You know," he began, eyes darting between Jasmine and Kirk, "there's more to this than what you're seeing. There's history, secrets, things neither of you have been willing to face." Jasmine arched an eyebrow, a sly smile curling her lips. Oh really? Do tell. Or are you just trying to stir the pot to feel important? The cousin chuckled nervously. I mean, if you really want the truth, Rasheeda's not the only one with skeletons in the closet. Jasmine's smile faltered slightly, her confidence wavering for just a fraction of a second before she regained composure. Skeletons. Darling, I think you might be talking about yourself. The air was electric, every word a spark threatening to ignite another inferno. Emotions ran high again when Kirk, desperate for any semblance of peace, interjected, Can we just be honest for once? Stop dancing around the issues and face the truth. But his plea fell on deaf ears. Jasmine leaned in closer, her voice dripping with both malice and allure. Honesty, Kirk. Oh, honey, you're asking for honesty. In a room where honesty was never allowed. You should have known better than to expect calm from me. Meanwhile, Rasheeda, who had paused at the top of the staircase, couldn't resist the pull of the confrontation. She stormed back into the room, her eyes wild, her voice cracking with a mix of rage and pain. Honesty. You call this honesty? This is manipulation, Jasmine. Pure manipulation. And Kirk, if you can't see it, maybe you never will. The family collectively gasped, the room teetering on the brink of chaos once again. Manipulation. Jasmine's laugh was sharp, almost cruel, bouncing off the walls. Please, Rasheeda, don't act like you've never tried to control him. Don't act like your jealousy hasn't fueled half of the drama we've endured. The tension reached a fever pitch as the two women faced off, eyes locked, each refusing to give even an inch. Fans who had been following the live updates online were erupting in comments, hashtags trending faster than anyone could track. Speculating about alliances, betrayals, and the next explosive revelation. I can't believe what I'm watching, one fan commented. This is better than any reality show. In the midst of the verbal duel, Kirk's younger cousin whispered something in Rasheeda's ear, and her expression shifted instantly, a mix of disbelief, anger, and heartbreak flashing across her face. You knew? She shrieked, turning toward Kirk with tears welling in her eyes. And you didn't tell me? How could you keep this from me? Kirk's mouth opened, closed, and finally he said nothing, trapped by the weight of the unspoken truth. Jasmine, sensing the opening, stepped forward, her voice silky but cutting. Oh, this is exactly why you can't handle the truth, Rasheeda. You crumble the moment it's not about your control. At that, Rasheeda's hands flew to her head, tugging at her hair, her voice rising to a scream. Control. I'm done with control. I'm done with lies. I have given everything, and this is what I get. Betrayal in my own home. The room seemed to shake with the intensity of her emotions, the kind of raw, unfiltered fury that made everyone, friends, family, and bystanders hold their breath. Even the usually composed Kirk seemed frozen, his mind racing to piece together the fragments of truth, gossip, and accusations that now bombarded him from all sides. The cousin, unable to resist adding fuel to the fire, muttered under his breath, and that's not even half of it. You think you've seen betrayal? Wait until you hear the rest. Rasheeda froze, eyes wide, the implication settling over her like a heavy fog. What? What do you mean? She asked, her voice barely more than a whisper, tinged with fear. Jasmine's lips curved into a sly smile, her gaze flicking between Rasheeda and Kirk. Oh, the night's just getting interesting, isn't it? The fans are going to lose their minds when they hear this. Suddenly, the phone in Kirk's sister's hand buzzed. Notifications flooding in from fans who were live streaming reactions and debating who was in the wrong, who was overreacting, and who would ultimately come out on top. The drama was now not only contained within the walls of Kirk's home, it was spilling across social media, igniting arguments in comment sections and fan forums. Emotions ran high as Rasheeda, refusing to remain passive, turned her fury back on Jasmine. You think you can just walk into my life, take my place, and act like nothing happened? Fans are shocked by your audacity. Jasmine, you should be ashamed. Jasmine tilted her head, her eyes narrowing, her tone calm but laced with venom. Ashamed, please. I don't owe you anything, Rasheeda. You made your choices. Now you're paying for them. The family was left divided, caught in the crossfire of this emotional explosion. Some tried to mediate, whispering, let's just take a step back, everyone calm down. But their efforts were drowned out by the tidal wave of anger and betrayal sweeping through the room. Kirk, feeling cornered, finally blurted, enough. I can't take this anymore. His voice shook, a mix of desperation and frustration. You're both acting like I'm the prize in some ridiculous game. I'm human. I have feelings. Rasheeda's eyes softened for a fraction of a second, but the anger quickly returned. Feelings? I've been standing by you, Kirk. While her gaze locked on Jasmine, she plays games with your mind. Jasmine laughed lightly, the sound cutting through the tension like a knife. Games? No, Rasheeda, this is reality. Something you clearly struggle to face. Just as the room seemed to reach an impasse, a shocking revelation dropped like a bomb. A friend of Kirk's who had been silent until now spoke up. Wait, there's more. Kirk, you need to know what's been going on behind your back. This isn't just about Jasmine and Rasheeda anymore. Every head turned, every eye widening in shock as the story that no one expected began to unfold, threatening to pull everyone even deeper into a web of deceit, jealousy, and emotional turmoil. And in that moment, it became painfully clear that the night's drama was far from over. The battle lines were drawn, alliances uncertain, and every word spoken, every secret revealed, only fanned the flames of a fire that seemed impossible to extinguish. Fans online couldn't get enough, eagerly waiting for the next explosive update, knowing that what they were witnessing was a storm of emotions, betrayals, and confrontations that would be talked about for weeks, if not months. The family's patience was tested, their unity stretched to its limits, and Kirk, caught helplessly between two forces of nature, could only wonder how this nightmare of jealousy, manipulation, and fury had spiraled so completely out of control. The room seemed to crackle with tension as the friend's words hung in the air, heavier than any accusation yet spoken. Kirk's jaw tightened, his knuckles whitening as he gripped the edge of the marble table, trying to process the torrent of revelations crashing down on him. Jasmine, sensing the shift in the room, leaned in closer, her voice silky and sharp. Oh, Kirk, you have no idea. And the truth, it's worse than you could have imagined. Rasheeda's eyes widened, her breath quickening as panic mingled with fury. Worse, what are you talking about? She demanded, stepping closer, her body trembling with a mix of rage and fear. The cousin who had earlier whispered secrets smirked, clearly enjoying the chaos. Let's just say, he began, slowly, savoring the suspense, that some of the alliances you thought were solid aren't, some of the trust you placed was misplaced, and some of the choices you made, well, they weren't as private as you hoped. Jasmine's smirk widened, her gaze flicking between Rasheeda and Kirk like a predator circling its prey. Exactly, she said softly, almost teasingly. And now the real fun begins. The family collectively gasped. The room filled with an almost tangible tension that made it hard to breathe. Kirk rubbed his face, muttering under his breath. Why can't anything be simple? Why is my life a circus? Rasheeda's voice cracked, tears welling in her eyes as she shouted. I trusted you, Kirk. I believed in everything we had. And, now I find out there's more. Always more. Jasmine's laughter, low and venomous, echoed through the room. Oh, Rasheeda, you're dramatic, but that's why everyone loves the spectacle. It's entertainment. The words were like a spark to a powder keg. Rasheeda's anger surged, and she threw a glass across the room, the shattering sound making several family members jump in fright. Entertainment? This isn't a show. This is my life, she screamed, her voice raw and shattering. Kirk rushed to her side, but she shoved him away, her eyes blazing. Don't touch me. I don't need your pity. Jasmine leaned back against the wall, arms crossed, clearly enjoying every second of the chaos she had helped ignite. Oh, but pity is exactly what he's going to need after tonight, she whispered, just loud enough for Kirk to hear. Friends and family tried to intervene, but the emotional storm was relentless. Let's all just calm down, one of Kirk's cousins pleaded, but the words were lost in the torrent of accusations and insults flying through the air. Calm down. After everything she's done. Rasheeda shot back, pointing directly at Jasmine. After she's manipulated, lied, and tried to destroy everything I care about. Jasmine shrugged nonchalantly, tilting her head. Oh, Rasheeda, don't blame me for your insecurities. You brought this on yourself. The family was left, divided, some whispering consolations to Kirk, others trying to reason with Rasheeda, and a few simply watching in stunned silence as the emotional battle raged on. The tension was further amplified when Kirk's best friend, who had been silent until now, cleared his throat. Guys, maybe we should take a step back. Things are spiraling out of control. Jasmine's eyes narrowed, her voice sharp and unforgiving. Spiraling? Honey, it's not spiraling. It's a show. And tonight, I'm the star. Rasheeda's lips trembled, her face a mixture of fury and hurt. A show? This isn't a show. This is my life, my dignity, my heart. The shouting match escalated, voices overlapping, accusations piling on top of one another like an avalanche of raw emotion. Fans following every update online were mesmerized, tweeting, posting, and commenting at a furious pace. "I can't believe this is real," one wrote. "It's better than any reality TV show." Another commented, "Rasheeda versus Jasmine is the drama of the decade. Who's going to win, Kirk?" Meanwhile, Kirk tried to regain some control over the situation. "Everyone, please, stop. You're turning my house into a battlefield." His voice shook with desperation, but it seemed to have little effect. Rasheeda's eyes burned with unyielding anger. "A battlefield? You should have thought of that before letting her in. Before letting her manipulate you and everyone around you." Jasmine's lips curled into a sinister smile. "Manipulate? Oh, Rasheeda, I prefer the term reveal the truth. And the truth is, fans are shocked by your overreaction. They can see who the real problem is." The room fell silent for a moment, the words hitting like a tidal wave, leaving everyone stunned. Then, as if on cue, Rasheeda's phone buzzed. She glanced down, her face going pale as a series of messages flashed across the screen. What is this?" she whispered, her hands shaking. Jasmine leaned closer, her voice dripping with satisfaction. "Oh, that. Just some new revelations. I thought you'd want to know everything before the night is over." The messages contained supposed secrets, alleged betrayals, and shocking admissions, and Rasheeda's eyes widened with disbelief. "No, this can't be real," she stammered, her voice barely audible. The cousin who had been enjoying the drama smirked. "Oh, it's very real. And now, everything changes." Kirk sank into a chair, running his hands over his face, muttering, "Why does my life have to be like this? Why can't anything stay simple?" Jasmine, clearly relishing the chaos, tilted her head and whispered just loud enough for Rasheeda to hear. "Simple. Life was never meant to be simple for people like us. But you'll learn." Rasheeda's hands flew to her face, a mix of tears and fury making her seem almost unrecognizable. "I can't believe this. I trusted you. I trusted all of you." The room was a whirlwind of emotion, accusations, and raw, unfiltered drama. Friends and family who had attempted to mediate were now resigned to watching the spectacle, whispering amongst themselves, "This is insane. Completely insane." Fans online couldn't get enough, live streaming, commenting, and creating trending hashtags that spread like wildfire. The night stretched on, each confrontation more explosive than the last, and it became painfully clear that no one would be safe from the fallout of the explosive clash between Jasmine and Rasheeda. Secrets, betrayals, and emotional landmines lay scattered across the room, ready to detonate at the slightest provocation, and Kirk, trapped in the epicenter, realized that whatever the outcome, the drama would leave scars visible and invisible that would last far longer than anyone expected. And as the clock ticked on, the battle raged, escalating into a spectacle that fans and family alike would never forget. The storm was far from over, and every word, every glance, every whispered secret threatened to ignite yet another explosive twist in a night that seemed destined to shatter everything in its path. Just when it seemed the night could not become any more chaotic, a sudden revelation sent shockwaves through everyone in the room. Kirk's phone buzzed violently on the marble counter, and as he glanced at the screen, his eyes widened, his jaw tightening. What is this?" he muttered, almost to himself. Rasheeda, sensing another twist, rushed to peer over his shoulder, her heart pounding like a drum. Jasmine, ever the opportunist, stepped closer, a sly, predatory smile on her lips. "Oh, this is going to change everything," she whispered, her voice dripping with anticipation. The messages on Kirk's phone were damning alleged secrets, confessions, and shocking admissions that no one could have predicted. And suddenly, the stakes of the evening multiplied exponentially. Rasheeda's hands flew to her face, tears welling up as her body shook with a mix of fury and heartbreak. I just can't believe this," she gasped, her voice barely audible over the thundering tension. Kirk, struggling to maintain composure, ran a hand through his hair, muttering, "How did it come to this? How did everything spiral so far out of control?" Jasmine, seeing the opening, leaned in even closer, her tone silky but venomous. "Spiraled. Oh darling, it didn't spiral, it exploded. And the fireworks are just beginning." Family members exchanged alarmed glances, some clutching at each other for support, others muttering under their breath. This is insane. Completely insane. The atmosphere was electric, the emotional tension so thick that it seemed to hum in the air, vibrating through every corner of the room. Fans online, following live updates, were going wild, their comments flooding social media with shock, speculation, and endless debates. Rasheeda versus Jasmine is beyond anything I've ever seen, one tweeted. This is pure chaos. Kirk is doomed. The drama escalated further when Rasheeda, no longer able to contain her emotions, screamed, "Enough. I'm done. I've given everything, and this is how it's repaid." Lies, manipulation, betrayal. Jasmine tilted her head, eyes glinting like daggers. Betrayal. Oh, Rasheeda, you were betrayed by your own assumptions. I simply showed the truth. Kirk, caught in the crossfire, pleaded, "Girls, please, stop. Can't we just talk for once without turning it into a battlefield?" But his words fell on deaf ears, drowned out by the torrent of accusations, insults, and emotional confessions flying in all directions. At that moment, Kirk's best friend stepped forward, voice trembling with urgency. "There's more," he said, glancing between the two women. "Secrets you don't even know about yet. And if they come out, nothing will ever be the same." The room fell into stunned silence, the weight of the statement hanging over everyone like a storm cloud. Rasheeda's hands clenched into fists, her body tense, ready to explode again. "More. How much more?" she demanded, her voice breaking. Jasmine's smile widened, cold and calculating. "Oh, you'll see soon enough. And when you do, fans will be shocked, emotions will run higher than ever, and the family, well, the family will be left divided like never before." Suddenly, the cousin who had been quietly observing stepped forward, revealing a shocking twist. "Not only has everyone been keeping secrets, but some alliances you thought were solid aren't, and the consequences, they're going to be catastrophic." Rasheeda gasped, her hands flying to her mouth, while Kirk sank into a chair, burying his face in his hands. I can't handle this," he muttered, overwhelmed by the mounting revelations. Jasmine, sensing her dominance, leaned in, her tone almost a whisper, yet cutting like a knife. "Handle it. Oh Kirk, this isn't about handling. This is about surviving the chaos that I've brought into the light." The room erupted once more, voices overlapping, accusations ricocheting between walls, and emotions spiraling out of control. Fans online were glued to every update, live streaming the confrontation, their hashtags trending worldwide. Jasmine vs Rasheeda, Kirk's chaos, family torn apart. The drama had gone viral before it had even ended. And just when it seemed that the chaos had reached its peak, another bombshell dropped. A message revealed an intimate betrayal, something that not only shocked Rasheeda but left even Jasmine momentarily stunned. The revelation hung in the air like a guillotine, and for a heartbeat, silence ruled the room. But then Rasheeda, tears streaming down her face, screamed, "I can't. How could this happen? I trusted him. I trusted all of you." Jasmine, momentarily speechless, quickly recovered, her eyes gleaming with calculated triumph. "Trust is a fragile thing, Rasheeda. You either wield it wisely, or it shatters around you." Kirk, shaking his head, finally raised his voice over the chaos. "Enough. I can't take another second of this madness. Everyone, just stop." But the words seemed powerless against the tidal wave of emotions, accusations, and secrets that had been unleashed. Family members tried to calm everyone down, murmuring pleas, but their voices were lost amidst the hurricane of shouting, crying, and dramatic declarations. Fans online continued to react with sheer fascination, their comments pouring in by the second, each one analyzing every glance, every word, every pause, and speculating on what would happen next. Rasheeda, her face red with anger and sorrow, turned toward Jasmine, her voice shaking but filled with defiance. "This isn't over. You think you've won. You haven't. The war is just beginning, and when it's done, everyone will know the truth." Jasmine, unflinching, met her gaze with a chilling calm. "The truth is already out, Rasheeda. Fans are shocked, the family is divided, and Kirk, well, he's in the middle of a storm he can't escape. And that, my dear, is only the beginning." The tension remained suffocating, every person in the room trapped in a whirlwind of emotion, betrayal, and suspense. Each revelation, each secret, each accusation threatened to unravel what little peace remained. Kirk, exhausted and emotionally drained, sank back into his chair, realizing that nothing would ever be the same again. The night had become a spectacle of raw human emotion, dramatic confrontations, and explosive revelations that no one, neither family, friends, nor fans, would ever forget. And as the storm of Jasmine and Rasheeda's feud raged on, one thing was clear. This was not merely a clash over affection or pride. It was a battle of wills, a collision of secrets, and a spectacle that would continue to grip the world in suspense, leaving everyone wondering who would emerge victorious, and who would be left in ruins. The evening ended not with resolution, but with the promise of more drama to come. More secrets waiting to be exposed, and a story that would continue to shock, entertain, and captivate audiences around the world. As the night drew to a close, the storm of emotions, secrets, and explosive confrontations between Jasmine and Rasheeda had left everyone reeling. Fans are still in shock, dissecting every glance, every word, and every subtle gesture from this unforgettable clash. The family remains divided, uncertain how to mend the rift that has turned a simple gathering into a battlefield of pride, betrayal, and raw emotion. Kirk, caught helplessly in the middle, is left to navigate a path through a maze of jealousy, lies, and lingering tension that may never fully resolve. Questions hang in the air like unspoken thunder. Will Rasheeda find a way to reclaim her dignity? Can Jasmine maintain her unyielding dominance in this high-stakes drama? And perhaps the most crucial question of all, how will Kirk survive the emotional whirlwind he has been thrust into? Fans around the world are waiting, theories swirling, debates raging, and speculations running wild as everyone anticipates the next shocking twist in this saga. The story is far from over, and one thing is certain: the drama between Jasmine and Rasheeda will continue to captivate, shock, and entertain audiences for weeks to come. Now, we want to hear from you. Hootbitter from you. Do you think came out on top in this explosive confrontation? Do you side with Rasheeda's raw passion or Jasmine's calculated intensity? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to like this video if you enjoyed the drama. Subscribe to stay updated on every shocking revelation, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of this sensational saga. The stage is set, the players are in motion, and the next chapter is just around the corner, so join the conversation. Engage with the story, and let us know what you think.